We could not do this series without our incredible sponsors. So a big shout out to San Diego County Credit Union, the Observatory, West Coast Tavern, Asana Partners, A7D Creative Group, and McFarland Promotions.
It's not big bank banking, it's better. SDCCU is a not-for-profit financial institution focused on people helping people and giving back to our customers and the community with low or no fees, low rates on loans, competitive rates on deposits, innovative technologies, and support for local nonprofits. SDCCU.com. It's not big bank banking, it's better.
Hey everyone, it's Coco San Diego, and I'm here with Kelsey and Itzel, and we are excited to talk about today's San Diego County Credit Union Festival of Arts. That has been an online series that has been going on these past few weeks. Hopefully you had fun with me making some succulent planters last week. But today I'm really excited to talk about Splash and the wine bar here, even though I can't drink it, but I'm sure it's wonderful, and they're going to tell me all about it. So, Kelsey, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Splash Bar and what you and your mom do here?
Sure. So I am one half of the ownership team here at Splash. My mother and I purchased the bar in December of last year, and unfortunately we had to close in March of this year due to COVID. So our intention with buying the space was to transform it into kind of a community space, an event space, and a way to learn more about wine. We want to make wine approachable to everyone. So at this point, we have begun selling wine online and working with local artists and different kind of collaborations to feature wine made all by women, BIPOC, and small family farms. So that is the only way we source wine, and we're very excited by that.
Wonderful. How long have you guys been here?
So the bar has been here since 2008.
Oh, long time.
Also, it was established in the middle of an economic crisis and has been a resilient space in the neighborhood. So we're super proud of that. But we only purchased it in December of last year, 2019.
Okay, so what's the passion behind it? Like, you and your mom love wine? Is that kind of how it started? Or
We love wine. We both needed a career change. She was in health policy. I was in the nonprofit world, and I was a chocolate maker. We went through some life changes and decided that we wanted to go into business together. So
awesome.
Here we are.
Great. So why don't you tell us about some of your favorite regions of wines?
Yeah, so we absolutely love California wines always, but one of the biggest things for us is Baja has a really new up-and-coming region called Valle de Guadalupe. It's about an hour and a half south of the border here. I can literally leave my house and be there in an hour and 45 minutes, which is amazing. People are calling it kind of the Napa of Mexico. And to us, that's a local region. This binational region has a very, very diverse terrain, a lot of different microclimates, and so it's a lot of really exciting things coming out of both Valle all the way up towards kind of Temecula, Paso Robles area. So those are the kind of places that we're really excited about right now.
Yeah, well, I am a huge Valle fan.
Yeah.
Before I was pregnant and before the pandemic, we were going probably about once a month. It's just
beautiful.
So it's amazing too. And if I have Century, I'm sure you do too. Mm-hmm. Makes it a big difference to be across the border in about 15 minutes. So it's like my husband and I, we actually just went to Temecula this last weekend. And we're like, it takes the same amount of time for us. Yep. And we actually love Valle more, and the culture and the people and the dirt roads, and it's just the architecture. I think that's really unique about them too is, when you go to Temecula, you see all these big, huge mansions, and there it's like they're very economical. They reuse things. What is it, Venacava, they have the upside down boat, and then for the lighting, they use old photography lenses, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite place?
Oh, I can't pick just one,
hard,
honestly.
Right?
You can't ask me that question.
Okay, top three.
So I mean, Valle in general, I think is such a beautiful place because it's also so food driven. Baja Med cuisine and this culture surrounding local food, local fish, meats, things like that are really starting to thrive in that area. Yeah. And the wine is reflecting that. So a lot of these wines are made to be eaten with Baja Med cuisine, but also kind of an exploratory other types of cuisine. And so that to us is really exciting. So when we go to different wineries, we also try to pick places that would go well with the food down there. So we've got like Deckman's, we've got Finca Altasano, we've got these really amazing places. I do have a couple bottles that I would totally love to talk about here. One of my favorite ones, this first one, actually is La Dama Tatuada, is a red blend made by Valle Vino. She was the first Baja wine we picked up. We got a message on Instagram and she said, hey, I'm coming to San Diego with some wine. Can I stop by for a tasting? And I was like, well, buy all of it. So we love her. She's really an amazing woman. And it's also a mother-daughter team. Pretty small winery. They're not growing their own grapes. They're buying from the region. So she has a lot of freedom to experiment. And so we really love that about her. And then the next one.
Is that your favorite wine from there? Or
it's one of them, top three. I'll pick one. We've got Bruma, which is an absolutely amazing winery. They've got the Fauna restaurant. They just opened up their food and wine garden. So Lulu Martinez Ojeda, she was born and raised in Ensenada, and then she went to France and trained with a couple famous winemakers there, and then went back to Valle and has now been working, I think, 3 or 4 different labels. But Bruma is one of my favorites, and this Blanc de Noir is absolutely amazing. It's a Carignan. Highly recommend it.
Bruma is, I feel like every time I take someone to Bruma, they're like, oh my gosh, because it has that big, beautiful tree and the artwork. And I actually spent my 30th birthday there a couple years ago. And went to Fauna and had a whole experience with a group dinner, and it is so good.
It is an amazing place, and they've got really cool little Airbnb style places to stay. I mean, you could pretty much just stay there and not leave Bruma, and you don't.
There's quite a few wineries that are starting to be more like resorts that you're seeing, and it's just, like you said, a nice, you can do a day trip, but it's also the perfect like weekend getaway as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And this last one, another one of my favorites, Santos Brujos. This particular Tempranillo is very heavy, very intense, super amazing in fall. But it's the only organic certified winery in the region, but it's all biodynamic. So their label has some really cool symbolism as to how they harvest during certain hours of phases of the moon, things like that. And so they're also an incredible winery, and they have a really cool outdoor space as well. So these are probably my top 3.
So, what is it, Santos?
Santos Brujos.
Brujos, okay. Now, I know isn't there one other organic, Finca La Corradilla, are they?
I don't know if they're organic certified. I know there's a lot of like natural and biodynamic work being done, but that's something that not only are we learning about as we kind of evolve our purchasing habits here, but the kind of natural spectrum is very vague right now, and a lot of makers are tightening that up and what those definitions are. So.
Do you guys serve natural wines here as well?
We do, yeah. It's just not necessarily promoted as very natural. There are a lot of wine bars that are completely natural that kind of almost go on the kombucha spectrum. So we've got some of that, but a lot of them you wouldn't even know that they're natural. They're just the process of how they do or don't add things to.
I'm a huge Beachy fan.
Yeah?
Oh, I love all of their wines, and especially their rosé. It's like, it's almost on the verge because you get that, like you said, almost like a sour kombucha, right? It's like this little more acidic and bubbly, and Mexico wines are the best.
Absolutely.
I love it. So, I'm like looking here, what else we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about a lot more today. And why don't we talk about these beautiful tasters that are sitting in front of us?
Absolutely. So we have decided to start partnering with local artists to do these fun activities. What started as a quarantine activity has now expanded into bigger projects, but it's essentially an adult coloring book. You have a label on our house wines, so you can pick from any of our 5 house wines. We have a Merlot, Cabernet, a Pinot Noir, a Chardonnay, or a Sauvignon Blanc. They're all made by a pretty famous winery up in Napa, Rutherford Ranch, and we're very honored that they give us a great deal on our house wines. So we're able to work with artists, so they're able to get paid for their work and their time. And then a portion of proceeds also go to various donation funds or community organizations. So we have partnered with Itzel on this one for our SDCCU event.
Awesome. Well, Ito, why don't you tell us about your artwork and what you find inspiration for and kind of what we got on these labels?
Yeah. Let me see which ones we've got. So we designed 3 for this event, and we've got the Yay grapes.
Very cute.
Yeah. We wanted to. It's just such a weird time right now, and we wanted to convey that sense of happiness I mean, wine makes you feel happy regardless.
Yeah.
But we wanted to convey that sense of happiness and playfulness during this time. So doing the coloring book style, and then my design is very bright and happy. I like to do playful graphics, and then another really important part of it is I'm Mexican and grew up in Tijuana. I was born here, but I lived in Tijuana for 18 years and then moved here. So Spanish and Mexican influences will always be a part of my design. And since we are both Mexican, we wanted to bring that to the bottles, to that design.
I love that.
The aspects. So this one's Hora del Gulp, which means gulp hour, time
Happy
to
hour.
drink. Happy hour, basically.
I love that.
Yeah. And then this one was just a little glass wine.
Having fun with it.
Having fun, yeah. And the really amazing thing is with these, when you purchase these bottles, not only is it really fun and a different activity that you wouldn't maybe consider when drinking wine, but it also it supports Splash, it supports me, and then we pick different charities for each one of them. So they each support, we're supporting the Okra Project, the Loveland Foundation, and Border Kindness through these bottles.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's a really, really fun project.
I love that. And I love that you are incorporating your heritage, right? Mm-hmm. And our neighbors, Tijuana and Valle and all these different places. So it's exciting to kind of see that and to be a part of it. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be able to take some of these bottles home, feed them to my husband, and I'll color them for you, okay?
Perfect.
That's what
Tag us.
That's what we'll end up doing over here.
And then upcycle it by throwing some flowers in it.
Yes, that's
Get
a
some
great
nice
idea.
art, yeah.
I know. Oh, gosh, now I'm going to really have to color in the lines
Yeah.
here. Okay, all right. But so we have the artwork here, but let's talk about, there's another piece of artwork here that is very special to Splash, and it's the new parklet.
Yes.
Right? So let's talk about the parklet and hear more about it.
Yeah. So the Parklet mural is actually a collab between myself and Hannah Gundrum at Little House Inc. on Instagram. Yeah, and it was really fun to partner up. It was just female empowerment to the max, just getting these. North Park, I feel, has so much design and art everywhere, but on this block, surprisingly, there's not a lot of color.
Yeah.
So we were really excited to just brighten it up and bring some fun and bring some happiness, and hopefully when people even if you're not drinking wine, even if you're just driving by, you see that and it makes you feel happy, or just the color inspires something in you. But also you can come in here, get one of these bottles, and the Parklet will be ready soon. We're working on it. But people will be able to purchase the bottle and take it outside and drink it with some friends and just be in this hopefully happy environment.
Yeah, they can a great space for community.
Yeah.
I love that, and I noticed it right away because I am a color girl. I love pops of color and everything. You should see my closet is neon everything. I try to incorporate. I've been better about putting blacks, grays, more neutral, but just like your shirt, I love the color pop and the excitement around it. Yeah. Well, great. Okay, well, I think we should do the fun part. I don't get to do the fun part. You ladies get to do the fun part for me.
You can
so
live
I will
vicariously.
Trust you, but I can drink it in 3 months.
Okay.
You can
Right as that baby coming out, I'm
You'll have
drinking
some
that wine.
bottles on reserve.
Why don't you talk about the first one?
Sure. So we'll start with our Sauvignon Blanc. Let's do this.
Sauvignon Blanc is my favorite too, so this is real torture. On a hot day too.
Yeah, no kidding. So if you haven't done a wine tasting before, we usually recommend kind of just swirling it, kind of aerating it out a little bit. And I'll take my mask off for this portion. So you do a smell test here. We usually recommend smelling towards the back of the glass. If you stick your nose straight in the middle, you're just going to get alcohol. So you want to tilt it back. And we get a lot of kind of tropical notes on this one. Got a lot of mango. And then when you take your sip, kind of swirl it around your mouth. And then see what tasting notes you have. This one is a very tropical Sauvignon Blanc. Normally there's going to be a little bit more acidity and more green apple flavors and things like that. So This
super
is one of my
fruity.
favorite,
It's
yeah.
super yummy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole time we were painting, it was really fun because obviously we were having wine
Yeah.
while painting, which was really nice. But yeah, we had a lot of Cabernet and Merlot, so that one's really yummy. I hadn't tried it.
It's a nice refreshing balance, yeah.
It's like a perfect summer day.
We like to call it a porch pounder. Just hang out on the porch and drink an entire bottle.
Yes, summer juice. I mean, that looks awesome. So what do we have next?
Okay, the next one we're going to try is our Cabernet, which I do need to finish this.
Down the hatch.
We normally don't recommend chugging your wine, but if you have to, that's okay. You want to finish? Okay, the next one is our Cabernet Sauvignon, also the house wine. So this one is going to be a lot more dark fruit notes, so blackberries, figs, anything kind of molassesy.
What would you pair this with to eat?
Good question. I would pair this with Italian food, any kind of pasta, any kind of pizza, particularly tribute pizza, anything on their menu. I would have
Tribute is like one of my top fave pizza places.
100%.
We were talking about too. I'm like, Tribute's my number one, I think, in San Diego.
I had to buy the hot honey because there's the beast mode.
Yep.
Yes.
My mom got like 5 bottles of that.
Mike's Hot Honey on the Beast Mode Pizza Tribute. It's
Shout
in
out
North
to
Park.
Tribute.
Yes.
They're directly across the street from us, so I
It's
can't tell you
so
how many
good.
nights we
Yeah.
have Tribute pizza. So again, a lot of dark notes. It's an easy to drink Cabernet. You can have it during the summer. You can throw it in the fridge, chill it. It'll be really good. But it's also really lovely during the winter when it's super cold out and you want to just sit by a fireplace and have this. So it's a really easy to drink Cabernet. Highly recommend it. Okay, and our last one is our House Merlot. This one's going to be a little bit more tannic, which is kind of what you find if it's almost a bitter flavor, or if you imagine sucking on a cotton ball, it kind of dries out your mouth. That's what tannins are. So that's the skin contact from the grape. This one has actually very similar aromas to the Cabernet, dark fruit notes. It's going to be a lot more dry, and you're definitely going to want to eat food with it. As opposed to the Cabernet and the Sauv Blanc, you can hang out in the sun and probably be fine and drink an entire bottle, but this is going to be something that you're going to want to pair with dinner. We actually have been doing a lot of interesting pairings with local restaurants around our neighborhood, and we paired this with Lebanese food, and it is amazing. So we've been doing a lot of exploratory kind of pairings, and the Merlot is a winner.
That's awesome. Well, I guess I didn't ask what to pair with the Sauvignon Blanc, so now you have to give us that as well.
Sunshine,
Great vibes.
beach days, good vibes.
Yeah.
I would go with something like a ceviche would be really good with it. I wouldn't go with anything spicy because of the acidity. The alcohol is going to really bring out a spicy flavor in a bad way.
Okay.
So I'd go kind of more towards the tart or sweet side of things.
Okay. And how do you recommend storing these wines? Like, do you chill them? Do you not? Kind of, what do you?
Sauv Blanc, throw it in the fridge. You can pop it open whenever. The Merlot and the Cab, I just leave out. I personally like to chill the Cabernet just because I think it's really good when it's a little bit cold.
Yeah.
The Merlot, I would open up probably 30 minutes before you want to start drinking it and let it kind of air out a little bit because the tannins can be pretty strong if you're not super familiar with heavy, bold reds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad. What did you think? You enjoyed it?
Delicious.
Yeah.
I love
She's
them.
had lots of these ones so far.
Sure.
I love them all.
That's great. So, with the pandemic going on and everything, I know so many of our North Park, and not only North Park, our whole community and nation has kind of had to, the hot word is pivot and figure out kind of what's the next step and how to move their business forward. So what does that look like for Splash?
So my mom and I talk a lot that we are no longer pivoting, we're pirouetting.
Oh,
so
I
we're
love
just
that. I was a dancer, so I love the pirouetting. Okay.
So And not in a bad way. We're actually really happy with the direction that we're going to be taking our business. So Splash will no longer reopen as just a bar. We'll be open Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the parklet, where you can essentially take to-go bottles. So you come in and buy a bottle or a flight, which will be 4 mini bottles and a little side of bread and nuts. So you can sit outside, enjoy that as long as you want. The inside will be event space only. So we'll be doing chef pairing dinners. We'll be doing kind of corporate events, baby showers, various things like that.
Baby showers?
Yeah.
I think by then I already have the baby. Maybe first
number
birthday.
2.
There you go.
First birthday at a wine bar. Great mom, right? That's awesome. So when is kind of the outdoor space start? And
So the outdoor space will be open next weekend. And then we are working currently on how we're going to rent out the indoor space for the facilities. So we do have tasting machines. That has been kind of the big attraction for Splash, where you could taste over 68 wines on tap. We are reducing those down to, I believe, about 20 taps. So as a guest who's going to rent out the space, you can curate your own kind of flight for your guests or things like that.
Fun. That's
That is
neat.
fun, yeah.
And actually, we are starting our first Baja Wine Club, which will be coming out in the
Sign
next
me up.
couple
Calendar
weeks.
number 1.
Yeah, and we'll have a membership program, so members can have private event space, but also come in once a month or maybe every other week and have kind of open bar time where it feels a little bit like a bar, but it's all socially distant and it's just for members only.
Yeah.
So we'll have a bunch of programming and cool events and content and things like that coming out, but we won't really be a traditional bar. So we're part of this Pure Wedding is how are we diversifying our income streams?
Yeah.
And it's, in a weird way, a lot more of what we want to do and less of what we don't. So
Yeah.
we're staying really positive. And
I love that too, of bringing the Baja wines here, because I know even as an influencer, every Monday I do Mexico Mondays, and I talk about Mexico and how to cross the border and where to go and where to eat and what to drink, and still so many people get so nervous about it, but want to experience the great Baja cuisine or the great wines, and there's not a lot of those places here in San Diego. So it's really cool to hear that you're doing that and bringing that kind of up here to San Diego so people can be a part of that.
yeah, absolutely. And when there are, it's maybe 1 or 2 bottles at a restaurant here and there, which is amazing,
Right.
but we really wanted to have a selection that we are the Valle in San Diego and are working directly with these winemakers, and we have relationships with them, and they're able to send people our way and vice versa. And so that's what we've been spending a lot of time during quarantine doing, is just building these relationships, because there's not much else to do.
That's wonderful. All right, so if we wanted to find you on Instagram, what is the Splash handle?
Splash Wine on
Splash
Instagram.
Easy.
Easy. There, unfortunately, is another Splash Wines, so don't mistake us for that.
One wine.
One wine.
One wines, no, plural. They're the plural one.
Okay, awesome. Anita?
I'm at Yeitzel, so at Yay, ITZEL.
Cute. You love Yay, huh?
Yeah.
It's all about
I
the
love
yay.
Yay too, so that's really fun. Well, thank you so much, ladies,
Thank
for
you.
telling me all about Splash and your artwork and doing the taster for me
Yeah.
today. And I can't wait to come back and experience it with you and to see what you turn into this beautiful event space. It's already a beautiful place, so I'm excited to see more what comes. And those of you that are tuning in, hopefully you will be joining me next for the DIY nail art, which is going to be very exciting. You can still buy those kits at explorenorthpark.com, and hopefully you will join me along in that series. So thank you so much for being with us